We see a carpet of pine needles laid out over the quiet floor of the Monongahela National Forest. Bright light is beaming down from the waxing, nearly full moon overhead. It is summer in Kepler, West Virginia, and it is still. In this particular neck of the woods, not a creature is stirring. The tall pines all around are motionless, bathing in this moonlight. There are no howls from the forest's depths, no frogs rattling in the creeks that crisscross the terrain, no crickets whistling their summer song. Kepler is quiet too. Its citizens have long since retired for the day. The steady hum of the funicular that connects the town to the ski slopes above ceased operations hours ago. Signs for the businesses catering to Kepler's night owls flicker and dim as their proprietors close up shop. Soft lights in the town's windows extinguish one by one, save for the office window of the Amnesty Lodge on the outskirts of Kepler's topside, where the manager sips her evening tea, peering expectantly out this window and into the forest beyond. And back in those woods, a stone archway stands in the center of a small clearing. The waxing moon reaches its zenith in the starlit sky above. The carpet of pine needles begins to vibrate in soft pulses away from the center of this clearing. And in an instant, the span of the arch is filled with the moonlight above, and the carpet of needles is stripped away as sharp winds blow outward and away from the clearing in every direction. The moon's reflection on the archway dims. The owner of the Amnesty Lodge finishes her evening tea and extinguishes the last light of Kepler, West Virginia. Moonlight pours through the broad skylights above the Kepler High School pool and onto the back of Calvin Owens, captain of the Kepler High swim team. He cuts quiet laps through the water, training vigorously for the Pocahontas County swim meet, just 4 days away. A window over the stacked-up bleachers is propped open by a duffel bag containing a change of clothes, evidence of Calvin's trespassing in pursuit of a few dozen more practice laps. He breaches the surface and clings to the edge of the pool, panting. He reaches up with trembling, tired fingers and peels off his goggles and cap, then lays his head down on crossed arms, attempting to catch his breath before pushing his luck for one last set. And for a moment, he is surrounded with silence, floating in the waters that would be his proving grounds in just a few short days. He pushes his nerves aside, and granting himself a moment of weightless serenity, Calvin Owens exhales a long, contented sigh. And then he is pulled violently below the surface of the water. And now the silence of the gym is nearly absolute. There's just the soft rustling of the pine trees outside and the small ripples that remain on the surface of the pool, which lap lazily against its edges. And then a splash as Calvin resurfaces, gulping air into his burning lungs as he lunges toward the ladder out of the pool. He leaps onto the edge and scrambles up the side of the bleachers, his body aching with exhaustion, and yanks his bag out of the propped open window, swinging his leg over its sill. But before he makes his escape, his curiosity consumes him. He pauses and surveys the waters below. His mind cannot comprehend what it sees. The surface of the water grows convex, lurching upward from the center of the pool and pulling away from its perimeter. It grows slowly like this until it forms a mound that reaches 10 feet above its former surface, and then, without warning, this shape begins moving in Calvin's direction. The window slams shut as Calvin springs outside. He hits the ground running and vanishes into the trees that surround his school. The nearly full moon over Kepler, West Virginia illuminates this scene from its ambivalent place in the twilight sky. Winter has come to Kepler, West Virginia. It is late December, and the reliable crowd of out-of-state tourists has nestled into Kepler's hotels and resorts, seeking an authentic, snowbound holiday retreat. Twinkling lights cover the town's buildings and streetlights, and a freshly cut, garishly decorated tree stands in front of City Hall. It's nighttime, and not a creature stirs in Kepler's festive streets. But up the road, to the west, a van speeds down State Route 66. The vehicle, emblazoned in the ancient logo of the Monongahela Forest Service, is driven by one Rick Dannon, the agency's chief arborist. With his working day of tending to the forest's trees behind him, he has packed up his tools and left the forest to head home. But through his windshield, the winding highway begins to vanish before his eyes as a sudden, furious snowstorm materializes in front of him. Thick, white flakes whipped into a frenzy by a powerful wind blanket his vision in seconds. Panicked, he bears down on the brake pedal and wrestles with the steering wheel, attempting to maintain control of the vehicle and pull over to the side of the road. And then, as quickly as it appeared, the storm passes. The van's wipers kick on, revealing the road before him. Rick breathes a sigh of relief, then turns the wheel, pulling back onto the highway to continue his commute. The van pulls away, down the winding highway. It passes out of view behind the mountainside. Moments later, a crash echoes through the pines. Duck Newton is pulled from his slumber shortly before sunrise by the ringing of a telephone. On the other end is Ranger Juno Devine. She informs him that Rick Dannon died last night in a car accident on State Route 66. No foul play is suspected.